You know what makes people uncomfortable? Not aggression, not arrogance, not some loud, chest-thumping display of dominance. What really makes people shift in their seats is quiet, unshakable confidence, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself. And if you've ever wondered why some people walk into a room and everyone just feels it, I'm about to show you exactly how that works and how you can do it too. Here's something most people don't understand. When someone feels nervous around a confident person, it's not because the confident person is doing anything to them. Research from the University of Kent found that people who project extreme confidence aren't actually more competent than anyone else. They're just more confident in their decisions. But here's the twist. That confidence alone becomes social currency. It opens doors, commands respect, and yes, it makes people nervous. Because when you encounter someone who's genuinely secure in themselves, it holds up a mirror to your own insecurities. It reminds you of every doubt you're carrying around. They're not attacking you, your own internal messes. Think about the last time you met someone who was completely comfortable in silence. No nervous laughter, no filling dead air with pointless chatter. Just calm presence. Unsettling, right? That's quiet confidence, and it's far more intimidating than any loud display of self-assurance. Psychology tells us these people have something most don't. They're not seeking validation from you or anyone else. They know their worth without needing you to confirm it. And that creates an invisible force field that makes interactions feel unbalanced. You're looking for approval, they're not. You feel it instantly. Now let's talk about what actually builds this level of confidence, because it's not what you think. Most people believe confidence is something you're born with. Wrong. Confidence is built through a surprisingly simple metric called your say-do ratio. It's the number of promises you keep to yourself divided by the number you make. Every time you tell yourself you'll wake up early and actually do it, you're making a deposit. Every time you say you'll start that project and don't, you're making a withdrawal. Your subconscious is tracking this. And when your say-do ratio is high, you trust yourself. That trust radiates outward. But there's something even more powerful happening beneath the surface. Your body and mind are locked in a constant feedback loop. San Francisco State University found that students taking a math test performed better when sitting up straight versus slouched. Not because of some mystical energy, because your posture literally sends signals to your brain about whether you're safe or under threat. Slouching tells your nervous system you're in danger. Sitting upright expands your lung capacity, gets more oxygen to your brain, and tells your body you're in control. Social psychologist Amy Cuddy took this further with power posing research. When people held expansive poses for just 2 minutes, hands behind their heads, feet up on a desk, their testosterone increased and stress hormones dropped. They felt more powerful because their bodies were telling their brains they were powerful. Here's what this means for you. If you walk into a room with your shoulders back, stance wide, movements deliberate and unhurried, you're not faking confidence. You're creating it in real time, and everyone around you picks up on those signals before you even speak. Which brings us to movement itself. Confident people don't rush. Ever notice how nervous energy makes you talk faster, walk faster, respond faster? You think it makes you look efficient. It doesn't. It broadcasts anxiety. When you move with intention, when you pause before answering, when you take your time walking from point A to point B, you're sending a clear message. You control your environment. Your environment doesn't control you. The average stance for women is under 6 inches between their feet. For men, it's 6 to 10 inches. Widening your stance even slightly sends a subconscious signal that you can't be pushed around. You're claiming territory. And that physical strength translates directly into mental sharpness. When your body is well supported, stable, grounded, your mind follows. You'll carry that into difficult conversations, high-pressure situations, and moments where most people crumble. But here's where most people derail themselves. They confuse confidence with arrogance. And crossing that line turns inspiring presence into toxic repulsion. Confidence comes from accurate self-assessment. You know what you're good at. You acknowledge what you're not. Arrogance is inflated self-worth disconnected from reality. Confident people stay open to feedback and growth. Arrogant people dismiss other perspectives and resist learning. One makes people want to follow you, the other makes them want to avoid you. The real secret nobody talks about? Confidence isn't built waiting until you feel ready. It's built by taking action before you feel ready. Most people have this backwards. They think confidence comes first, then action. No. Action creates confidence. Every time you do something uncertain, uncomfortable, or unfamiliar and survive it, you're rewiring your brain's safety mechanisms. You're proving to yourself that you can handle what comes next. Your chronic self-doubt isn't a personality flaw. It's outdated neurobiology. Your brain has a built-in negativity bias designed to keep you safe from threats that no longer exist. But here's the breakthrough. Neuroplasticity means you can recalibrate this bias. Fast. You can turn your inner critic into your biggest supporter, and it happens quicker than you think. Start with gratitude. Research shows it's one of the most powerful confidence builders that exists. 5 minutes every morning. 3 things you're grateful for. That's it. You're not manifesting or wishful thinking. You're rewiring your brain to notice what's working instead of obsessing over what's broken. This shifts your baseline emotional state. Over time, you start operating from abundance instead of scarcity. And people feel that shift before you say a word. Next, celebrate the small wins nobody sees. Most people wait for the promotion, the big achievement, the external validation. That's the trap. Unshakable confidence comes from internal scorekeeping. You kept a promise to yourself today. Win. You had a difficult conversation you'd been avoiding. Win. You showed up when you didn't feel like it. Win. Break your long-term goals into daily targets. Make winning each day automatic. When you stack enough small wins, you build evidence that you're capable. And evidence beats motivation every single time. Now let's talk about what happens when you walk into a room with this level of self-assurance. People get nervous, not because you're aggressive or dominating, because you're comfortable. You're not seeking approval. You're not performing. You're not trying to prove anything. And that contrast is jarring for people who spend their entire lives managing how others perceive them. When they encounter someone who doesn't play that game, it exposes something they're avoiding in themselves. Their own lack of self-worth, their own need for validation, their own insecurity. This is quiet confidence. It's not loud or boastful. It's subtle, almost invisible, but impossibly intimidating. Because it comes from deep internal security that most people never develop. You're comfortable in silence while others scramble to fill it. You don't justify your decisions to people who haven't earned that explanation. You set boundaries without apologizing. This creates an invisible force field around you that others perceive as impenetrable. In professional settings, this dynamic amplifies. You might walk into a room full of people with more experience, higher status, more credentials. Your confidence could nosedive. You start thinking, who am I to be here? But people with unshakable confidence flip the script. They identify what unique value they bring, what perspective, insight, or information they have that others don't. If you've been invited to speak, lead, or contribute, someone believes you have something worth hearing. That's not arrogance. That's recognizing your value. Highly confident people don't compare themselves to others. Their self-worth comes from internal metrics, not external scorecards. In competitive environments, this becomes your unfair advantage. While everyone else is measuring themselves against colleagues, you're focused entirely on creating value. That focus becomes magnetic. It draws people towards you because you're not operating from scarcity or competition. You're operating from contribution. Here's what makes this truly powerful. When your worth isn't dependent on external validation, you can handle any feedback without defensiveness. You can admit mistakes without your identity collapsing. You can ask questions without feeling stupid. This is the hallmark of genuine confidence versus arrogance. Arrogant people dismiss perspectives that challenge them. Confident people stay open because they're secure enough to be wrong. One pushes people away, the other pulls them closer. Facial expressions matter more than you realize. Narrowed eyes, furrowed brows, an unblinking stare. These aren't conscious intimidation tactics. They're byproducts of internal certainty. When you're completely sure of yourself, your face reflects that. You hold eye contact longer. You don't break focus when someone challenges you. You maintain composure when others panic. This creates an atmosphere that others find unsettling because it reveals how much energy they waste on anxiety you don't experience. But none of this works if you're waiting to feel ready. That moment never arrives. The people who develop confidence that makes others nervous, they acted before they felt prepared. They took the meeting, made the call, had the conversation, started the project. Each time you do something uncertain and survive, you're building evidence. Proof that you can handle discomfort. Proof that uncertainty doesn't break you, that evidence compounds until confidence becomes your default state. So walk into rooms like you own them, not because you're better than anyone, because you're not measuring yourself against anyone. Speak with deliberate pacing. Move with intention. Hold silence without filling it. Keep promises to yourself until self-trust becomes automatic. And watch what happens. Some people will be inspired, others will be intimidated. Both reactions tell you the same thing. You've built something most people never will. Confidence so solid it shifts the energy of every space you enter. That's what real confidence looks like. Not loud, not performative, just unshakable presence that makes people recalibrate how they see themselves when they're around you. And the wildest part? You're not trying to intimidate anyone. You're just done apologizing for taking up space. You've stopped performing for approval. You've built something internal that no external circumstance can touch. So stop waiting for the perfect moment to start acting like the person you want to become. That version of you isn't hiding in some future timeline. It's activated the second you decide your self-worth isn't up for negotiation anymore. When you move through the world like someone who knows their value without needing to announce it, everything changes. The opportunities, the respect, the relationships, even the way you talk to yourself. You want confidence that makes people nervous? Stop seeking comfort. Start keeping score with yourself and build a foundation so solid that nothing and nobody can shake it. Now you know exactly how.